carotid artery blown out by a bullet while he's having a conversation with other people. You celebrate that? And you think you're entitled to just keep your job? That would be a total infringement on the rights of the employer. But at the same time, unequivocally, we should not be trampling the speech of these left-wing lunatics, no matter how vile, no matter how disgusting, no matter how condemnable these people are. You can't do it. That's the deal. Because at the end of the day, what would they do? They'll just conceal that speech in dark places, be harder to find them. If you hate these people and what they stand for, you have to fight it at its core. And that is the Marxist ghouls who are spending a fortune, an absolute fortune here in recent years, to radicalize this country as much as they can. There's a lot of very dark money spinning around, and it's coming from familiar names that maybe live in China, familiar names that have done business all over the world, all in an effort to undermine and destroy your country, and the president talked about it earlier this week.
We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing.
Dr. Gad Saad is a visiting scholar at the Declaration of Independence Center at Ole Miss, author of the forthcoming book, Suicidal Empathy, and back with us tonight. Sir, good to see you. Where do you stand on this? I don't think an employer should have to keep somebody in their employ if they're condemnable and disgusting in this way, but you can't fight what's happening to this country by stifling free speech.
Right. I mean, I couldn't agree more with pretty much every syllable in your excellent monologue. Again, I'm going to introduce terms that I may have mentioned on this show before. There's a difference between deontological and consequentialist ethics. Deontological ethics are absolute statements. So if I say it is never okay to lie, that would be a deontological statement. If I say it is okay to lie to spare someone's feelings, that would be a consequentialist statement. For many things in life, it makes perfect sense for us to be consequentialists. When it comes to foundational principles like freedom of speech, freedom of inquiry, presumption of innocence, by definition, those things have to be deontological. So when you say things like, I believe in freedom of speech, but not for Donald Trump because he's an existential threat, you're committing that error. If you say, I believe in journalistic integrity, but not when it came to Hunter Biden's laptop, because then Donald Trump would have won the presidency, that is consequentialism. If you say, I believe in presumption of innocence, but not for Brett Kavanaugh, because then he would have ascended to become a justice, you're again committing that error. So it's really important to recognize that free speech means that we have to stand the most grotesque types of speech. I've said this before on your show. I'm Jewish. There is nothing more offensive than denying the Holocaust, but I support the right of Holocaust deniers to spew their nonsense. Now, if they say, let's meet at 5 o'clock at the end of the Shabbat services at the corner of X and Y street and kill the Jews, that's incitement to violence.
Yeah.
But if they say Judaism is a useless religion, that's not hate speech, that's allowed.
Yeah, and the ACLU used to fight to protect that kind of speech. I don't think they do that really anymore, which is one of the many ways that we're seeing kind of the collapse of the institutions that are supposed to support what this country stands for. And we saw with the Bondi comment got quickly walked back by herself. You give her the benefit of the doubt that maybe she just misspoke in that moment. I don't really know what to think of that, but it is scary to see how easy it is for power to flirt with the idea of suppressing speech, because in their position, it makes everything tremendously easier, right? It's so much easier to run a society without all the freedoms that we have, which are such a liability for the people that run the country.
Indeed. And if it's not hate speech, then you can argue we're going to stop people from spreading misinformation and disinformation. What is disinformation? Is it that women can have penises, or is it that women cannot have penises? Well, guess what? It's the people who are in power who decide what is disinformation or not. Right. This is a reflex that has existed throughout human history. What has made the West is that we had a doorstop against that reflex, and we should make sure to protect with all of our might the First Amendment.
Well said. Dr. Gad Saad, good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Julian Epstein is a Democrat consultant